Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down a medical test that's surprisingly simple, but wow, is it powerful. All it takes is a short walk, but it can tell you so much about your health.
All right, so how on earth can a simple walk tell you so much? It sounds almost too basic, right? But the thing is, this 6-minute walk test, it's actually a huge deal for doctors trying to understand how well your heart and lungs are working in your everyday life.
Okay, so let's get right into it. What exactly is this test? You know, in a world full of high-tech scans and complicated machines, why are we still talking about just walking?
Well, at its heart, it's a super practical way for your doctor to see how your body holds up under some light, sustained effort. We're not talking about training for a marathon here. It's all about getting a real-world snapshot of your health, especially if you're dealing with a lung or heart condition.
All right, let's talk about the walk itself. And what's kind of wild is just how straightforward the whole thing is. You don't need any complicated machinery. Nope, it's literally just you, a hallway, and a stopwatch.
So the goal here? It is not a race. You're just walking at whatever pace feels right for you, trying to cover as much ground as you can in those 6 minutes. And get this, you can even slow down or stop and take a breather if you need to. The clock, though, it keeps on ticking. And the whole time, there's this little gadget on your finger, a pulse oximeter, and it's feeding all this super important info back to the doctor.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. What are the doctors actually looking for? Because it's not just about how you feel. It's about getting cold, hard data. And it all starts with distance.
Yeah, the huge one is just how far you walk. It turns out, research shows that if you can cover more than 300 meters, it's a really good sign that you can handle your day-to-day life without any major problems.
And while you're walking, they're also keeping a super close eye on your blood oxygen saturation, or SpO2 for short. Think of this number as a report card for how well your lungs are doing their main job, getting oxygen into your blood to power everything.
For a healthy person, that oxygen level is going to be pretty high. We're talking 97 to 99%. But if that number starts to take a nosedive during the walk, that is a major red flag. In fact, if it drops below 80%, bam, test is over, right then and there. Safety first.
And it's not just the oxygen level. There are other big red flags to look out for. Things like chest pain, feeling like you absolutely cannot catch your breath, or suddenly breaking out in a heavy sweat. These are all clear signals to stop. These are the exact abnormal findings doctors are on the lookout for, telling them the body's just under way too much strain.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit, because this little walk, it's really just one piece of a much, much bigger puzzle.
Yeah, believe it or not, before you even take a single step, your doctor has already started putting the pieces together. The results from the walk don't just exist on their own. They're looked at alongside a full physical exam and your own personal health story.
Like, they're going to ask you some very specific questions. They want to understand how shortness of breath really affects your daily life. Knowing if you get winded after walking up one flight of stairs versus, say, walking 5 blocks, that gives the test results some critical, real-world context.
They're also looking for physical clues, you know? Just watching how you hold your body can tell them a ton. For example, someone with a lung condition might naturally lean forward and brace themselves on their knees. It's called the tripod position. And they're not even thinking about it. They just do it because it helps them breathe out.
So here's a quick rundown of that hands-on exam. They're looking at you, they're feeling your chest for vibrations, they're tapping to listen for different sounds, and of course, they're listening with a stethoscope. Every single one of these steps adds another layer of info that helps explain what happens when you do that walk.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for your lungs and, well, for your life?
What's so incredible about this test is that it bridges the gap between numbers on a chart and what you can actually do in your day-to-day life. It takes that clinical data and makes it real. It tells you about your ability to walk through the grocery store, or play with your grandkids, or just climb a flight of stairs. You know, at the end of the day, being an active, informed participant in your own healthcare is just so powerful. And this test is a perfect example of how something so simple can give you and your doctor so much vital information. So hopefully this gives you a much clearer picture of what your lungs, and yeah, just a simple walk, can really tell you.